Morning, guys. Mark Parashi. A little yak session this morning. Sorry about the light. It's kind of, I'm driving, so it's a little bit messed up, but we'll get through it here in a second. So why I wanted to do this video is a little yak more on our society situation, what's going on with ICE and our fascist government that's trying to move in on the people. And it's nothing more than a psychological battle, guys. These guys are doing everything they can to intimidate and to squash and to use social media, and they're totally controlling our social media right now. Whether you realize it or not, they control the stream. And he's got all these oligarchs, all the high-tech oligarchs, that he's moved into the military, but giving them a commission, patting them on the back, and then using their technology to come in on our platforms. And the American people either don't care or are not aware of it, don't think about it, but it's only going to happen to somebody like me that actually is anti to the point where I'm voicing it, right? If you don't say anything and you're talking about poodles and talking about gardening and doing that, they're going to mess with you at all, right? But it's us that are anti, right? We are anti-fascism, right? I am totally against what's happening in our country, right? These guys are fascists and they can sit there and claim everything. They've lied to you the whole time until they got into office, and then they started playing hard-handed. They're using all kinds of bullshit excuses. Oh yeah, we're out after the worst of the worst. We want to, and they're going after every Latino that they can think of, right? Dragging them out of their homes, rappelling down on buildings, and coming in as a paramilitary force, and giving their boys plenty of fun and having fun playing with toys and acting like it's a friggin' game on the internet, right? It's one of these Clancy games or whatever, you know, they shoot them up. Oh, isn't this fun? Oh, gee, oh boy, against the American people, right? So, to the situation with Antifa Kyle that was on the front lines and dealing with ICE and having his community push back on ICE, and 90% of the society can look at that and say, can you blame them, right? They're going into their area and they're totally demoralizing him and coming at him strong with guns and just totally outfitted for a full-on war against the American public, right? You don't think that American public's going to be mad and try to push back? You're crazy. Any real American that's worth his salt is going to try to push back, period, right? Unless you're a little milksop. So you can't blame Kyle for reacting. Every action causes a reaction, and react to what's going on in his community. They're killing their people, and they're coming at him strong and throwing, just ridiculous. They've got the normal way of arresting people with the rights and everything else is not being done. They're snatching you up, throwing you into a gulag. The health situation in those gulags where they're chaining them to beds and leaving them sit on the floors, and the toilet's just sitting there and right in front of it's ridiculous. It's pure and simple ridiculous. These things, these instant pop-up friggin' gulags that they're doing, and that's what they're doing. They're just taking a big old building, huge old building, throwing a bunch of chain link in it and a bunch of bunks, and they're setting it up to house people, right? In such a way that it's not proper. In other words, they don't have proper showers, they don't have cleanliness, they're not getting treated worth a hoot, right? They basically don't have any rights, and they don't have anybody that's being able to police them, period. They're not letting in the senators to go in and look and see what their care is like. They're doing everything they can to be as abusive and cruel as they possibly can. Cruelty is the issue. We all know it. We look at it, we see it, right? So you can't blame Kyle for being upset, right? And did he say that he wanted people to come out with guns? Yeah, he said it, okay? But it doesn't make it illegal. He still has the right to freedom of speech, right? Until he goes out and physically does that action, there's no reason to be able to do that, right? They caught him when he was calm and nice and clear in his house and went in and kicked in his door without a warrant, without anything, and just snatched him up, right? And that's the situation that's being done to all kinds of Americans in this society right now, right? So I've got a video where he actually is pretty aggressive and pretty upset because they just dealt with him and they were in the heat of battle, right? So I'm not justifying that he's wanting to go after them, but I guarantee you it's going to come to a point this is going to happen everywhere. We're going to get to a point where we're actually going to have to pick up our guns and we're going to have to go fight, period. Okay? Do you think we're really going to let you take our government by lying to us and by stealing and cheating and taking the election? That's what you're doing. We all know it. That's the thing about it. Everybody, even on their side, they know damn well what's happening. But because they're their boys and they've got a racism attitude and they don't care about being cruel to other people, right? Oh, they shouldn't have come over the border. Fuck you. Immigrants have been coming into our country since we founded this country. How do you think it was built? Our railroads were built. Those high-rises, those bridges, all that stuff, dams, they were all built by immigrants. Every one of them. Immigrants make our country stronger, right? It gives us a labor force. It gives us the skills that we need to build the things that we need to have built and the jobs that American people won't do it. Oh, yeah, we'll get somebody else out there picking beans. No, you won't, okay? They're willing to go through that process so that they can try to make their lives better, and they know that they got to work their ass off to be able to attain the American dream. And when they do, and they have $1 in their pocket, and they have a nice house, and they've earned it, I have nothing against those people. They've worked hard for it. Right? That's what America's all about. That you can come over here and give us your poor, give us your indigent, whatever the saying was, as you came into the Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty was there. That's what my family came into. And my family worked their ass off and went all the way, migrated from New York and migrated all the way over and got one of the uncles hit gold in Australia of all places. Brought back his money and bought one of the land grants off the coast of California. Back when those land grants were still available. Thousands of acres, and then they farmed. They were dairy farmers, and they busted their butt to raise their family, and they became pretty well-to-do through the way things work, right? And then they pissed it away within a generation or so, and then I got born into nothing because of alcoholism, because of drugs. Well, it wasn't drugs, it was alcohol back then, back in the 30s and 40s, where they made their own booze and their own bathtub gin and all that, the roaring 30s and 40s. With Hearst Castle that was right above Cambria, that's where my family was from, right? After they migrated from Italy and to the Swiss Alps, and then they migrated from the Swiss Alps, that's why I say I'm a Swiss Italian, right? There was several migrations that came from the old country, right? Kyle probably has as much history and all that as anybody else, right? He's an American. He was born and raised in Minneapolis. That's his home. And you can't imagine, you can't take away his anger and his indignant attitude against the government that's trying to stifle the American people. You can't take that away from him. And when he gets in the heat of battle, he's that upset and says some things maybe he shouldn't have said. What happened to freedom of speech, right? Did he go do it? Because they're afraid of him, right? They're afraid of the slogan of Antifa. Why? That's anti-fascist. We don't want these fascist assholes in our country. That's a perfect slogan. And it comes from when somebody else was being oppressed in history. From the 3 iron bars, that signifies something. That says that we will fight, okay? And we will fight for our country, period. I'll guarantee you I'll be the first one on the line. If they get some kind of resistance and we do end up in a civil war, I'll be out there killing you motherfuckers like a motherfucker. And that's sad, isn't it? Americans killing American, all for one man, okay? One asshole that has no bearing on any of it. He's a white supremacist that doesn't give a shit about any of you assholes that are so stupid that you followed that man, right? And then jumped down that damn thing to be a white supremacist because he was giving you what you wanted, which was to be cruel against the immigrant, right? Those immigrants aren't trying to take nothing from you. They can't vote in our society. They're not allowed to. We have all these checks and balances against any of that. But you guys want to create this big thing and lie that they are stealing the vote and they're taking this and they're taking our resources. They can't go into a hospital. They can't sign up for Medicare and Medi-Cal. They're not a citizen. But you guys want to twist it and lie and steal and cheat based on a lie that they're doing this to our society. Bullshit. They have more hardship and more struggles to deal with the prejudice that goes on than anybody, black or brown or any other thing, right? Because the American society was built on racism, on prejudice, on slavery, on all the things that were wrong. That we wiped out a whole friggin' Indian nation across because of manifest destiny, right? That is part of our history. That is in our genetic makeup. So your cruelty is well known. Your racism is well known. We already went through it. We just didn't put it to bed like we should have, right? And when it comes time, when this rolls over and we finally get our power back and we start to establish some normal things, I hope to hell we can figure out some way to put these guys into a corner that they can't come back out again. That we chase those snakes, those racist assholes back underneath their rocks, and we get them out of our society. Will they still be there? Yeah. Because they've been given a permission slip to act like this, to say these things, to go out and do the things they're doing. To the poor man, the people that don't have anything. Don't you get it? These are people that are struggling to survive in our society. And you're going to say, whoop, and grab them by the neck. And did they come into our country wrong and improperly? Maybe a lot of them did. But Obama is proof that we can use our system and get as many, and if not more, out of our country doing it the right way, by running them through the judicial system, by doing things the right way. Okay? He deported more of them than he's doing with a heavy hand, than Trump is, right? With that heavy hand. That's all designed to basically cow the American people and to turn it into a fascist state and an oligarchy and an authoritarian state where they tell us what to do. We don't have any rights anymore. Before, we've always had rights that we could speak out and say, hey, you can't go against my rights. And you make the government have to jump through hoops to do things in the right way. And when they do, they a lot of times win anyway. All the resources are in their corner, right? But you're just not doing it with cruelty and with improper ways of doing things. Snatching up kids, snatching up women, and doing the cruelty that you're doing is wrong, period. So to have somebody like Kyle be upset to the point where he's all pissed off and screaming and yelling, you can't take that away from him. He has a right to be upset. Okay? It's for them to come in and snatch him and then no due process. Where's your arrest? Where is anything right now? Nobody's watching after this man. I've been trying my best to get somebody legal representation to make sure we get a string on this guy so they can't throw him through the system and lose him in the system. That's what they want to do. And the guy's probably getting mutilated right now. They're beating the shit out of that poor guy because they're going to take their anger out on him. Because he is, they're going to try to cow him. That's what they do. Anytime that somebody has enough strength within them, that's what they do. And Kyle will stand up for a little while until he can't stand up no more, and then he'll try to be quiet and try to get through it, right? There's people in our history that have been through this kind of abuse and through this. McCain, when he was over in the war in Vietnam, got snatched up. What do you think he felt like when he had to go through that prison system and get treated the way they treated the prisoners, right? Same thing. And this is our American system that's doing it to these people? Totally wrong. We all know it, right? We know we have to put a stop to this. But bottom line is, everybody wants to keep believing the fallacy of hope that we can use our system to get through it. I don't think we can. I don't think they're going to let go of power. I think we're going to physically have to do what we got to do, period. And that's a sad thing, because that means we have to kill our fellow Americans, right? And I don't want that to happen, but I'll guarantee you if it does, I'll be the first man on the line signing my name on the line, period. I will lose my life for my country, right? You guys are wrong, period. How long is it going to take for you to pull your head out of your ass to realize that it's wrong to be the way you are, right? You think might is right? What do you think that's going to do to the rest of the world when we start doing that with a heavy hand all over the world? It's going to be war, and there's going to be thousands and millions of people die because all of one man. You guys are idiots. Talk to you later.